Welcome to the course, Everything You Need to Start by Real Estate Assistance Learning. In this course, you're going to learn that having a really clearly defined job description, including roles and responsibilities, and the scope of practice of being a real estate agent right from the beginning is really helpful. That being an agent is tough, but that beginning in the industry with the right attitude and mindset makes all the difference. And that being a real estate agent requires endless information and constant learning. But knowing where to direct your attention and your efforts will ultimately help your business be more successful. Here's some of the basics first. You can pause this course at any time. There are no time restrictions, and you'll always have access to this link. All course components are downloadable in PDF format, and we ask that you please do not distribute this content or associated documents without the express permission of Real. So first of all, if you're a new agent, congratulations. Passing your real estate exam for some it's easy, for others it's a little more challenging. But as you probably have quickly learned, not sure how long any of you have been in the business, but you'll quickly learn that your real estate license doesn't really teach you much about being an agent. So while it might seem kind of silly to talk about defining what a real estate agent actually does, we're going to go ahead and do it because it's really important to know what the scope of practice is that you're jumping into and kind of the full job description of a real estate agent. And at Real, we created this course because of a lot of failed attempts to get into the industry and a lot of frustration. And we thought we want to create a course that kind of goes above anything that's salesy, anything that tells you how to go get business per se. And we wanted to really talk about the ins and outs of being an agent that people don't really discuss. So we're going to start with our definition of being an agent. First of all, there are numerous job descriptions out there. Just do a quick search on the Bureau of Labor and Statistics through the government website, and you'll find 3 or 4 descriptions of a real estate agent. There's a description for a real estate salesperson, a real estate broker, a real estate agent. Obviously, the lingo will change depending on where you are and where you work. But regardless, in any of these job descriptions, none of them actually prepare you for how to be an agent. And they kind of just talk about sales. So sales and getting new clients is really only the beginning. And again, Real is not a sales training company in any way, shape, or form. We don't advertise ourselves that way. In fact, later in this course, I'm going to recommend a couple of sales training programs. So what we're here to talk about is really sort of the nitty-gritty, the details about what being a real estate agent is like, and give you all of the tips and tricks to use for starting out. So the most basic definition that we can give you, and it's the one we cling to here at Real, is a real estate agent is somebody who helps buyers and sellers buy and sell real estate, period. Sounds so simple, right? Well, after years of culminated experience, we believe that this is actually the scope of practice of what a real estate agent does in their everyday. They work on database cultivation, marketing and advertising, client interaction, both buyers and sellers, obviously, all of the administrative work, transaction management, listing coordination, and may not seem part of a job, but it is, personal and professional development, including continuing education, which is a requirement in the real estate industry. So right up front, let's give some new agents this advice. It's really important that you know exactly what you're getting into with a career in real estate. It's vital that you be realistic about the time, money, and energy that it takes to really get going in the industry. And you need to be blithely aware of your newfound freedom in regards to time and schedule management. So many people jump into this profession because it offers them freedom and flexibility, but believe us, it can be both a blessing and a curse. Also, decide what your goals are right from the beginning as best as you're able. Do you want to sell 5 homes a year, or is this a side gig? Because really that's going to determine your effectiveness in the industry and how much it takes from you And we're going to get into that a little bit later. But before we leave this slide, I really do want to talk about that. A lot of people, they really believe that real estate is just the ultimate path to wealth and freedom of time. And any successful agent who's been in the industry for a while will tell you that is just a lot of bull. This is a hard gig. And too many people jump into the industry thinking that it's going to be a fast way to make a lot of money, and it's just not true. In fact, statistics tell us that you're really not going to make almost any money for the first year of your career. I don't know a lot of people that have enough money in the bank to just survive for a year, but it's really, we feel that it's really important to be honest about that subject when it comes to getting into the industry. It also takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. We're going to talk about the things that you'll do to build your business that hopefully will help it grow a little faster, but there's no getting around the fact that it does take some time. So before we get into a lot of the things that you're going to do as a real estate agent and our suggestions for how to do them well and effectively, if you've never done it, we want you to take the Myers-Briggs personality test. You can just Google Myers-Briggs personality test. Maybe you already know your personality type per the test. But the reason that we suggest the Myers-Briggs is that it's one of the founding personality tests that exists, and a lot of others were sort of cultivated off of the psychology that arose from the work of the Myers-Briggs test and its development. But it's very in-depth and reliable. And, take it or leave it. You may not even like the Myers-Briggs test, but we know what it did for us after we read our profiles. So you take the test. It's about 75 questions, and it takes roughly 10 minutes or so. There's no right or wrong answer. And when you're finished, it's going to give you these 4 letters, and those 4 letters are your personality profile. There's 16 different combinations, and when you read your profile, it's sort of crazy how spot on it is. And the biggest reason that we recommend doing this before anything else is that it gives you a glimpse into your personality in a way that maybe you haven't seen. And knowing your true strengths and weaknesses and sticking to them is absolutely key to success in this business. You should not do things that you're not good at. If you kind of fake being an extrovert all day and you're fine at talking with people, but you go home every single night and you're exhausted and you don't even want to be around anybody, you're quickly going to burn out in this industry if you're doing things in the business development world that aren't in your skill set. It's that type of thing that we're talking about. Don't do things that you're not good at. And maybe you think you know what you're good at, and maybe you don't. But if you take the Myers-Briggs personality test, we almost guarantee you'll have a better glimpse into those things. So this entire course, by the way, is based on assuming that you've passed your state's real estate exam, that you've received your license, that you've lined yourself up with a real estate firm, and you are ready to actively work as a real estate agent. We are so sorry if you have purchased this course thinking that it's going to tell you how to become a real estate agent. If that's the case, just let us know. But that is what we're assuming you've already done. So that's where we're going to start. And these are the most important steps we feel you should take if you've just entered the industry. You're going to find yourself sitting down at your desk, whether it's at home or in the office, and you've got this shiny new real estate license, and you're going to think, what do I do now? So first and foremost, we want you to create your database. For more insight on how to do that, we do have a course called How to Build Your Database. But, a database, it's not very hard to understand what that is. It's a huge list of all of the people you know. In our course, How to Build Your Database, we do talk about the difference between an actual database and a contacts list. So this is not just a contacts list per se, but you do need a database. And it can have people that you know and people that you don't know in it. But we're not going to get very far if we don't have one of those. So that is one of the first steps. Also, begin learning the market. You may not have ever sold a house, but that doesn't mean that you can't know about your local real estate market. And the only way that you're going to learn about it is by getting out there and touring homes, previewing new listings on a regular basis, and by holding open houses. Also, do your very best to learn the process of buying and selling homes in your state forwards and backwards. I mean, every single step. In terms of selling, it could be everything from you get a client, you find them a house, now what? Just as vague and generic to as specific as you want to be. Know the process of buying and selling in your state, and that goes per the law and per your firm and your association. Just learn the process inside and out. And also become intimately familiar with your state's real estate law, practices, and forms. Now, I know after taking your real estate exam, it's probably the last thing that you want to do, but seriously, it's sort of what you're doing. Honestly, it is the bread and butter of being a real estate agent. You are practicing real estate law. So you've really got to know it. And just because you have a license doesn't mean that you know it forwards and backwards. And you will continue to hone your skills and just shine brighter than the rest if you continue learning about the law and practices of your state. And so many people just don't do that. After they get their license, they're done. So don't skip this step. When you are sitting there and you're thinking, what should I do? How do I grow my business? And you don't quite know yet. Go read a form. Go read your purchase and sale agreement and get really, really familiar with everything. So let's run through these 4 where to start categories really quickly. First, create your database. So right from the beginning, you need to have some people to get in touch with. And it's truly critical to your business because we see it here at Real as your liquid gold. Your business won't function without people, and it is the true source of your income. And so when you're creating your database, you can either add people to it that you know or that you don't know. Obviously, your efforts will go much further with people that you know, but there are going to be individuals in there that you don't have a relationship with yet, and it's fine to add them to your database. So your database really should include everyone you know and don't know that you want to start cultivating as potential clients. For learn the market. So getting to know the market is actually going to completely boost your confidence. And of course, it's going to elevate your knowledge about what's going on. But when you can confidently talk about that new listing that came on, you instantly sort of feel part of something and that you're in the know. So one way to do that is just to tour active listings. And I used to tour new listings of the same price in different areas. So I would sort of think, what can $200,000 buy me here? Or here, or here, and I would compare them, and I learned a ton very quickly. You can also create auto searches in your MLS to keep up with new listings. If you're not logging into the MLS every day and just looking at new listings, this is a great way to keep up to date and see what's going on. And also, again, holding open houses. It doesn't take a lot of experience to hold an open, and you might even have a colleague in your office who's willing to let you tag along and find out how the process works, but you will learn so much about the market, both the houses and the statistics, but also the people. The market is not always just homes and numbers. It's also the people. What are current buyer trends? What are they looking for? What are contingencies that they have to give up or that they are using on a consistent basis in order to get into homes? So really learning the market right from the beginning. It's not something that you have to have a lot of time in the industry to do. You can start learning the market right from the get-go. And now let's talk about that process part. So knowing how to buy and sell in as generic a form as even that, frontwards and backwards, is one of the best things that you can learn up front. There are a lot of steps, so doing your best to learn the entire process from start to finish will not only help you gain clarity and insight into how it all works, but it's also going to boost your confidence and your professionalism when you're engaging with new clients. And, don't be afraid to ask around for insight. Hopefully your office is full of camaraderie and collaboration. And when you have a question about what comes next or what you should do, don't be afraid to ask. So one of the best things that you can do, again, at the beginning of your real estate career is reading your forms. These real estate forms, these offers that we're going to use to buy and sell houses, know them really well. It's fascinating how many people just don't have very good knowledge about their forms. And you'll just completely stand out amongst your clients, amongst your colleagues, if you know them like the back of your hand. So can't really stress that enough. Again, when you are a new agent and you don't know exactly what to do with your time yet because you don't have clients and you're not showing homes and you don't have any listings, read a form. Can't stress it enough. So the past 4 points that we talked about are what we feel you should be doing in your first few weeks, every day of this new career you've got. So whenever you're feeling that I'm not sure what I should be doing feeling, go preview a house, hold an open house, go grab a form and read it. That is sort of what we suggest. So in terms of everything you need to start, if you're brand new, that's where we think it starts. One thing we want to really emphasize is that we believe in creating a business that is based around you. And I know that's sort of generic, but here's what we mean by it. Everybody is going to have a different idea for how you should build your business and offer recommendations for different lead generation programs and what worked for them and so on. But we want you to heed this advice. Do what you want to do. Take those suggestions and obviously be respectful and listen, but go with your gut and do what you feel you should do to build your business. We believe and we know from experience that you can effectively network, market, and gain new clients, and also just completely create a successful real estate-based business based on things that you like to do. Keep in mind of that as we delve into specifics. It can be, when we talk about what you like to do, it can be as specific as being an athlete. You're an athlete and you like to work out and you like to run and you like things like that. What we're about to talk about and what you do as an agent can actually revolve around a subject or a category such as loving to work out and fitness. That's going to make a lot more sense in just a little bit, but we wanted to really emphasize this right from the beginning, that this is your business and you should never feel afraid to build it around you. So let's talk about time and energy management. We actually do have an entire course on this, but this is probably, it is so overlooked in our industry. Again, you're going to have so much freedom with your time and your energy when you enter the profession because you don't really have a boss. You don't have someone over you saying you need to do this or you do this. There are no deadlines. You're really your own boss. And for some people, that's a very natural fit, and others, it's just totally kind of a new thing, and it's both a blessing and a curse. So we believe that it's essential that you learn right from the beginning of your career how paramount, meaning the penultimate important thing, that managing your time and energy is in this business. So a lot of what we do won't actually take up a ton of time, actual minutes, but it will decimate your energy if you're not careful. If you've got a client that is just totally walking all over you, a conversation may only occur in 5 minutes, but you'll get off the phone and you'll feel worthless. So just really knowing how to take care of your time and your energy right from the beginning is huge. You'll also always have appointments, and that's the goal. We've got this showing and we've got this listing presentation, but it's also helpful if you learn to manage your schedule with blocks of time specified by a category of things you should do rather than specific task items. So for example, begin blocking out time each week that says go tour new listings for 1 hour instead of tour 123 Cherry Street at 1 p.m. for 30 minutes. That's because the rest of this course is really taught in concepts, and you can block out your schedule that way as well. You don't always have to have specific tasks, but if you have a category for a task that needs to be complete, you're actually much more likely to get it done. So if we're talking about time and energy, we should probably have a place that we're going to put all this time and energy into. So what we mean by that is deciding the right type of timekeeping or schedule management tool for you. So I've got some people in my office that they would never put an appointment in their phone if their life depended on it. And guess what? They're still really successful. And there are those of us who completely live on our phones and just laugh at people walking around with day timers and bullet journals. There is absolutely no right resource here. It is whatever works for you. But here's our takeaway. Commit to it and try not to waver from it, because our hope is that you really use your calendar and allow it to help you get your time and energy together so that you're building your business and not just wasting it. So let's start making sense of all of this stuff we've been talking about so far. So utilizing the scope of practice that we went over and we're going to go through again is what we're going to be discussing throughout the next part of this presentation. And we're going to start discussing what you can do to grow your business and make some money. So the concepts that follow aren't necessarily in any particular order. However, they should all receive attention throughout your day when applicable. So let's get into it. Where does your time go as a real estate agent? And how can you begin utilizing the things that we're talking about to actually build your business and start making some money? So based on our scope of practice, here's a breakdown of where we believe, after a lot of experience, where your time should be going. So 10% of your day is your week, your time, however you want to look at this, should be client interaction. You've also got listing coordination that needs to happen and transaction management. And don't forget that you do need to work on your accounting and your taxes and things like that. So that's under administrative work. And we should probably make sure that we are getting our name out there through marketing and advertising. And but we've also got to go take that class or learn this about the industry. So personal and professional development is in there. And oh yeah, we need new business. So we should probably be cultivating our database. This is the scope of practice that we talked about earlier. And what we've done here is we have broken it down by percentage of what we believe you should be doing and how you should be allocating these different topics with your time. So if we were to transfer that into an average 40-hour work week, which, quick little side note, I believe that every agent would be successful in this industry if they just actually worked 40 hours a week like they did in their old jobs. But anyway, so let's look at it that way. Let's look at it in hours. If there are 40 hours in a typical work week, and that's about 8 hours a day, here's what a breakdown by amount of time spent per week would look like in each category. You'd spend about 4 hours interacting with your clients, which sounds like a lot more than 10%. But about 4 hours, you'd be doing about 4 hours of listing coordination, 4 hours of transaction management, 4 hours of administrative work, 4 hours of marketing and advertising, 8 hours of personal and professional development. It's like a whole day a week, and 12 hours of database cultivation. I'm sure that we've all come from different backgrounds and different careers, and we all have our own experiences when it comes to time and energy management. So how it is that all just goes out the door when we become real estate agents, I'm not sure. But this is something that I think a lot of seasoned agents need to go back and look at. If you did a time study in your day and you actually saw where you're spending your time and energy, I think you'd be really surprised. So this is sort of just our basic roadmap for what a successful real estate agent's schedule might look like. Not in terms of what they're doing by hour each day, but just where their time and energy goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each of these points and give you some tips and tricks, because here is really, what you do as an agent. So we're going to start with client interaction, because it probably seemed counterintuitive and a little odd that we only put 10% to it, or 4 hours. But the truth is, you shouldn't have to spend a ton of physical time with your clients. Now, obviously, this is going to be sort of subjective because some people want to take care of their clients from start to finish and hold their hand every step of the way. And others might have, someone else even that shows the house for them. So I know we're on a spectrum there. But, you don't have to spend a ton of physical time with your clients. And we're going to talk about this a little in a different category. So the majority of time spent with your clients should actually fall under database cultivation, things like taking your clients to coffee and lunch and getting in touch with them. So what we're talking about here really is client interaction in terms of business, showing homes, going on listing presentations, and meeting with your clients to go over any forms or things that are specific to their transaction. So about 4 hours towards client interaction. Now let's talk about listing coordination. So if you've got a listing and you're new to the business, congratulations, that's awesome. But getting it ready to list shouldn't take too much time, even if you're new to the industry. And obviously it's going to get easier as your career progresses. But that's just one of the most beautiful things about listings. And you'll hear this consistently amongst real estate management, that the name of the game is listings. And of course, that's also personal preference because maybe you prefer buyers. But a big reason that that's been advocated is because it doesn't take as much time. And when you've got a system like the one provided by Listing Coordination Checklists offered by Real, it can go even quicker. So because it is such a process, again, it probably is going to take you a little longer if you're newer to the industry, but it will get easier to navigate as you progress in your career. And systemizing processes such as bringing on a new listing will help you stay better organized and able to allot more time to other categories that will help you grow your business, so that eventually you may not even spend about 10% of your time on new listings that come up. So that's really what we mean by listing coordination. Under transaction management, so similarly to bringing on a new listing, managing your transactions really shouldn't take up that much time, but giving them time each week to ensure accuracy and verification can save you big time in the long run. So each pending or active client should receive a weekly update in some form, either written, in an email or a text even, or a call, or even sometimes in person. There's a saying that exists out there that you'd rather call them than have them call you, and it's completely true. So having just a saved template, we've got those offered through our course Email and Communication Templates. And sending your client a weekly update every single week really alleviates a lot of questions and provides solutions to conflict, and you don't have to worry about how their transaction is going. And that's all simply because you set aside a little time each week to take care of it. And on top of that, verifying that all of the forms and addendums and documents, as well as the timelines and contractual agreements and whatever else is specific to your transaction, and verifying that and going over it before closing is essential to actual stress-free results. We can all wait till the last minute to get our paperwork in and make sure that everything's okay, but why do that when you could just have it taken care of beforehand and then you actually do have stress-free results? So try to be really proactive, not reactive, and that's what this category, transaction management, is really about. Don't forget that administrative means relating to the running of a business, and that's what we mean in this category. One of the most forgotten concepts in real estate is that agents need to run their business like a business. You'll often hear agents refer to it, my business, and sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, you rolled in today at noon and you left at 3 and you had a 3-hour lunch in between. If we would just remember to treat our businesses like a business, our productivity would go up in every category. So task items that are associated with this category, and what we mean by it is the actual paperwork. So that would be things like writing up contracts and listing agreements, but also, producing the CMAs and doing research on properties, things like that, because that is part of your business. But also in the traditional sense of business, anything that's related to accounting or legal things that keep your business going, or clerical tasks like filing and staying organized. Only a few hours a week in this category will tremendously help your business and can be really, really effective. Let's move into the world of marketing and advertising. So at Real, we believe there is a big difference between marketing and advertising and database cultivation. And it might seem at first like they overlap, but they don't. And here's why we think that. So marketing and advertising, by our definition, are efforts made to advance your name, reputation, and achievements. Marketing and advertising does not bring in new business. It does not bring you business in the real estate industry, only on rare occasions. It's a very necessary part of your business, but it isn't your business. It's just crazy to me how many agents want to put together a postcard and send it to all of these people. And I know that when I studied for my real estate test, there was actually a section about farming. And I think in that section, they even talked about how it's expensive and it's going to be a very slow process, but that it can yield results. I'm certainly not here to argue that, but I know that when I got into the industry, I didn't have a ton of money, extra money to be spending, and I could have quickly just sunk it into things like postcards and stuff. And, that's great. And you can do whatever you want in order to build your business. But our experience tells us that that's just not where your business should be going, because marketing and advertising doesn't bring you in business. It just sort of gets your name out there and gets, shares your reputation and your achievements. But you can't expect a postcard to arrive to someone's house and, become you and ask if they're ready to list their house. I don't know why we place such false expectations on marketing and advertising, but that's really what we mean here, and that's why we don't allot a ton of time to it. But rant over, in this category, what we're talking about specifically, social media has really become one of the hottest mediums for your marketing and advertising efforts. So spending your time to create stylish and attractive posts, find that engaging content, and also get information to your clients that's helpful and pertinent, that's what we mean by those social media efforts, which falls under your marketing and advertising category. And they do have their time and place every once in a while. I don't totally hate on postcards, but this category would include things like the creation of just listed postcards or just sold postcards, and also those print materials such as brochures and ads for personal marketing and advertising, or print materials for your listings or your properties like different flyers and ads. So that's what we mean by marketing and advertising. So you'll notice that we actually allotted more time to professional and personal development than even marketing and advertising, transaction management, and those would be the things that you'd think would take up all of your time or should take up all of your time. But after our experience, we really believe that setting time aside every single week for personal and professional development will help your business substantially. And that's because you are your business. It's very interesting that we forget that. If you're not bringing in new clients, you're not making any money, and you're not happy. So it's very cyclical and very connected because you're just one person. So let's talk about the professional part of the professional and personal development section. Staying up to date with the industry is typically synonymous with continuing education and designations and learning new tips and tricks through different classes and such. And while we believe that's completely true and necessary, we also believe that it's only the half of it. Continuing to hone your skills professionally includes things like touring homes each week, even if you don't have a client that you're previewing for. But just, going and seeing what's out there and keeping up and being in the know really hones your professional skills and develops you. And, just getting in touch with people that you've met, different colleagues, and asking about how their businesses are going, not necessarily in a let's just chat way, but really asking specific questions, maybe about a particular listing that went pending, or how they arrived at pricing on a new house that just hit the market, We're certainly not advocating pre-marketing in any way. When you call a colleague and say, do you have anything coming up, or, how's your business going? Definitely verify all of your pre-marketing rules with your local MLS or association. So again, that's not what we're advocating here, but just communicating with your colleagues can be really helpful in honing your professional skills. I'm going to emphasize it again. Read your forms, be up to date and aware of any changes, additions, or eliminations that have happened, and read. Why not set some time aside every single day to read information that's going to be really helpful for you and make you a better professional? So we'll have all of these links down below. But here are some great professional development books that we've read lately that made it onto our list. Good to Great, The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. I love her work, and it'll hit other areas of your life other than just your profession, for sure. The Slight Edge, one of my favorite books that I've ever read when it comes to really highlighting the compound effect and how little things will add up and become big over time. And of course, if you haven't read it, Think and Grow Rich is such a great book. It's kind of heavy, but when you get through it, it gives you a new insight on business. And then let's talk about the other part of that title, which was personal development. This industry is draining, and as a new agent, you might not know that yet, but when you get busy and you're really in the thick of it, making time for yourself, even throughout the day, will tremendously help you keep up your stamina and overall well-being as an agent, because it can so easily be dragged down. So we include this in the actual job description because if you're not functioning, your business isn't functioning. So whatever your me time is, I don't know if it's a massage, if it's heading to the golf course, if it's riding your horse, if it's taking a hike, whatever it is, schedule some me time for yourself each week. It's going to really help you avoid burnout. Also, read. We're going to give you some suggestions for the personal development side of things. Really expanding your mind and keeping yourself taken care of it's critical to remaining flexible in this industry and successful. Try meditating and relaxing. And we really cannot emphasize enough having a strong morning routine. And if you need to sort of build that into your 40 hours a week, then that's great. We really believe it needs to be there. So exercising. If you don't exercise in the morning, it's highly unlikely you're going to do it later in the day because you're going to be completely drained. Journaling. Maybe it's a gratitude journal. Maybe it's affirmations. Just getting your thoughts out and having some time to yourself to process and remember how thankful you are or mad you are, whatever it is. It's really helpful to do that. And read. And don't do it on your phone. Don't get on social media. Don't read emails. Actually read. Most of the very successful people in the world today, when interviewed, they highlight their morning routine almost more than anything, and they attribute more success to this than almost anything they do. So having a strong morning routine is super important. So some of our favorite books that we've read recently and that will really help you sort of as a new agent, in my opinion, are The Go-Giver, that helping others is really the key to building a successful business. Daring Greatly by Brené Brown is a fabulous book. My Stroke of Insight by Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor reminds us to just really slow down. And a really great book that is very much in line with what we were talking about at the beginning of this course with the Myers-Briggs personality test is Don't Do Stuff That You Suck At by Jessica Butts. She really delves into your personality and how it's unique to you. And if there are certain things that you're not good at, you just shouldn't do them. It's a really great insight into that topic. Okay, let's look at this granddaddy category that we say you should spend 12 hours a week in. Database cultivation. Database cultivation is really nothing more than growing the list of people that you have as it pertains to your business. And it doesn't matter if that list has people that you know or don't know on it. It is the source of your business. And by business, we mean money. So if you're not cultivating your database, you're not making money, period. It's just that's the experience that we've gleaned through culminated years in the real estate industry. And because of the slow nature of this industry, it's really important to understand that if you're working today, it's for a paycheck in 3 to 6 months. We don't have instant results in real estate. There's absolutely no way around it. And so cultivating your database is crucial. And it's the most important thing that you can do in your everyday. So there are dozens of ways to cultivate your database, obviously. Before we get into all of those, though, and the suggestions that we have, let's discuss how to go about it in a real way. So first, let's review what your goals are. You became a real estate agent because you want to make money and you want to be successful and you want to have more freedom with your time and your energy, right? So let's break down that into what it looks like with clients. So you're trying to get new clients who want to buy and or sell real estate using you. And you also want to be known as the go-to sought-after expert in the profession, not the salesy person just trying to make money. No one wants to be known as that or, have a bad reputation. And you also want all of your reach outs to be organic, natural, and non-threatening, but also result in business, right? These are our goals. This is what we want, and this is what we're talking about when it comes to database cultivation. Well, in order to achieve that, here is our suggestion. Don't forget that you are the consumer. What we mean by that, and we really kind of want this to sink in, when it comes to cultivating our databases and reaching out and getting to know our people, staying in touch with them, communicating with them on a consistent basis, we make up a lot of stories in our heads that aren't true, and we allow those stories to just go a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper, and all of a sudden, we're not in touch with our database anymore. We're not cultivating it. So ask yourself, as if you are the consumer, if you are the potential buyer, the potential seller, the friend even in your database, would you actually be upset if you received a call from somebody just checking in with you? Would you be angry that somebody reached out to you asking if you knew anyone who was looking to buy or sell? And would you actually truly be annoyed if you got an email or message asking if you'd like to receive local real estate trends, stats, and projections? There is no right answer to these questions. However, I know personally I wouldn't be upset if someone just called and checked in on me, even if they weren't someone I knew very well. I would just think, they're a really nice person. And I certainly wouldn't be mad if someone reached out asking if I knew of anyone who was looking to buy or sell. I would either just say, no, I don't, or yes, I do. And I would never be annoyed if I got an email or a message asking if I wanted to get trends or stats or things. The point here is we make up a lot of stories in our heads, and they're just not true. We're very wrong typically about the types of reactions that we think people are going to exhibit towards us. And the reason we're talking so much about this in database cultivation is because that's what database cultivation is. It's reaching out to people. And yet consistently, we make up these stories about why we're not going to, because we don't want to annoy, or we don't want to intrude, or we don't want to come across as salesy. And a lot of the time, we're just completely wrong about how we're being perceived by people. The thing is, you're not just a real estate agent. You're you. You've always been you. And for some crazy reason, it's really easy to forget that when we get into this profession. And all of a sudden, we think that our people in our lives, both people we know and don't know very well, only see us as a real estate agent. And that is it's just not true. So if we can get over that and we can get to the point that cultivating your database is really where the magic happens, and it's where you get in touch with people who put you in touch with people who want to buy or sell, then your business will grow as fast as you want it to. So here are some ideas for cultivating your database, and hopefully these are in a way that is organic and feels natural and non-threatening. I guess before we get into the actual ideas that we have, it's really important to understand the different ways to reach out. You can either write your sphere, your database, and that can be online. It can be in a and a postcard, a good old-fashioned handwritten card, whatever that looks like. So you could either write them or call them or see them in person. So it's really interesting when we consider database cultivation. And so now we know that we need to, and you've gotten over the fact that you're not really annoying your people, but you don't really want to talk to them yet. So what do? We resort to writing a card, and we put it in the mail, and it says, really thinking about you, hope you're doing well, and let's get together soon. Well, that's great and dandy, and when it is received by the person you sent it to, it's going to make them feel good, absolutely no doubt. But consider where your efforts will go the furthest. So you had to sit down, and you wrote this card, and then you had to pay. You had to pay for the stationery. You had to write their address out. You had to pay for postage, and then it's sent. And then there was this time, and you wondered, when they're going to get it. Do you realize that if you could have just picked up the phone and said, "Hey, how you doing? I haven't heard from you a while and was thinking about you and just wanted to see how things were," you'll instantly have an answer. You'll instantly be in touch. So we highly recommend just calling your people or go see them in person. It's not rocket science at all, and you really will see your efforts just go so much further. So now let's talk about some actual reasons to get in touch with your people. So you can always just call and say hello, and you've been thinking about somebody. There's really no harm in that. But also, all of the events that happen in the people in our lives, the birthdays, the anniversaries, special occasions. Sadly, we all die, and that's just the truth about life. And so there's always a condolence to send. There are so many reasons to get in touch with your people. Endless reasons when it comes to events such as that. But also getting in touch with people to maybe invite them to a local event or a get-together, or just to invite them to a meeting with you. Maybe it's a lunch or a coffee, a great reason to reach out. And you can always reach out with real estate-related topics as well. Hey, did you know that house that just went pending or in your neighborhood had 5 offers? Whatever it is. There are so many ways to get in touch with your people. So when should you be reaching out and cultivating your database? Well, in terms of your own schedule, we really believe that this should be happening every single day, and that you should have a time-blocked period every day that you're cultivating your database. In terms of how many times you should be contacting individuals in your database, of course, use discretion. Go with your gut towards specific people but we typically say at least once a quarter or so. So we've been on this topic for a little while. So why are we talking so much about database cultivation? Again, it's because your database is the source of your income, just period. And if you don't have a database and somehow you have enough funds to be buying leads or be getting names from someone, good for you. But it's very atypical, and most people they don't have that luxury when they get into the industry. And later on in your career, you might not keep a database as detailed and cultivated as much, because hopefully you will have built a referral-based business. But when you get started, you really need to have a database, and you need to cultivate it on a consistent basis. And here's sort of the real reason that we talk about database cultivation so much. The people that you're reaching out to, it's not necessarily them that you're hoping will buy and sell. Really, there's a saying that what you focus on expands. And when your people hear from you, it's going to make them feel good. They're going to be happy that you were in touch with them. And they're going to think on that. And there's total science behind this. We don't have the studies here, but just think of yourself as a person and how you respond. And when you get a nice call from someone, it makes you feel good, and you tend to think on it for a nice portion of the day. And what's crazy is we're going to talk about the next point, the power of reticular observation. One of the classic examples of reticular observation, and talking specifically about the reticular activator in our brains, we start to see patterns, and we start to see the same things reduplicated. A classic example of this is the type of car that you drive. And whenever you got that car, what did you start seeing on the road? Everywhere. I know that when I got mine, I just saw them everywhere. There it is in blue, there it is in black, there it is in white. And it's simply because I got that type of car. That's reticular observation. And so when you put these 2 points together, all of a sudden, these people that you're reaching out to, it's as if they magically run into people who are looking to buy and sell real estate. We see this constantly, and we wouldn't spend this much time and effort on training you on it if it wasn't just completely true and actually produced results. So spend time cultivating your database. We offer a great course at Real called Direct versus Indirect Business Development, and it's really a course about cultivating your database. So we've talked about all of these different things that you're going to do throughout your day as a new real estate agent and even as a seasoned real estate agent, and where your time should go and your energy. So now what? Well, creating your schedule based on the topics we just discussed will result in a productive, efficient business that truly yields incredible outcomes. And all it does is it just starts with a plan. That's really it. All you need to do is plan your work and work your plan. So take those suggestions that we've given you and in the topics that we have, and really just make it your own and write out your own plan. And hopefully this is just sort of a blueprint of where to start. Here are some things that we wanted to talk about in terms of what you should do, the to-dos for a new agent. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the what not to-dos. So one of the biggest things that we recommend is working in the office as much as you can, not from home. This will give you an opportunity to really see your colleagues in action and learn the ropes, hear the lingo, and be more productive. It's an office setting, and you're not at home with the temptation to be in your pajamas on the couch. You actually have to get dressed and go to work. Ask all the questions you can think of. Seriously, ask them to everyone. Ask your managing broker, ask your colleagues, ask your friends, ask your clients. Don't let a question go unanswered. Just ask as many questions as you can when you're starting out, and even as you continue in your career. It's just a thing that I think people forget to do. Ask questions. And I mentioned earlier that I was going to recommend a couple of sales programs. Real is not a sales program in any way. So if that's something that you're kind of looking for and you really want some ideas on how to get some business and how to grow your business and learn some new methods, the best one that I've ever found is called Ninja, and it's kind of touted as a sales system for introverts. It's a fantastic program, and even some of the ideas that we've used in our database cultivation section come straight from the Ninja selling method, but it's really just kind of common sense backed with some science put together. It's a great program. Also, I do recommend the Brian Buffini program, really working on a referral-based business and keeping in mind that if you do this, this, and this, you can remain at sort of a peak, and you won't see these ups and downs that typical real estate agents see in their businesses. And of course, there are a host of others. There's so many out there, but those are the two that we really suggest and we've had success with. Now let's talk about the what not to do's as we sort of wrap up here. So here's some suggestions concerning what you should not do as a new agent. First of all, don't spend a lot of money. You are going to get so many calls and you're going to get bombarded by different companies and lead generation programs, and they absolutely promise bright and shiny, never before seen results, but they're also really expensive and you don't really need them. If you're cultivating your database and calling your people and getting new clients, you really don't need them. Of course, we're not here to tell you what to do, but after the experience that we've gained, after years of being in the industry, we just don't spend money when you're a new agent, especially on things like that. And don't forget that this is kind of a slow industry in terms of getting money in your bank account. And it takes a long time to get your first paycheck in most cases. So try not to spend a lot of unnecessary money. Again, we put it in this section as well. Don't be afraid to ask for help. So basically, when we're saying what you should not do, don't stay silent. If you have a question, ask it. If you have a comment, say it. Consider a mentor, and learn as much as you can about the industry. And don't exaggerate anything. It's very easy to do, but it's something that we felt we should put here because it's often more or less a mistake that's made by new agents. And so try not to exaggerate anything ever, which ties very nicely into this. If there's only one thing that you remember from this entire course, it's this: under promise and over deliver on everything you do. It's one of the keys to being a successful agent, and it's also a key trait that is seen in the most successful agents in our industry. We're going to wrap up with sort of a section that you may not think would be in here, but we're going to put it here, and it's mindset and motivation. As you can see, there's a lot to being a successful agent. And beyond the scope of practice of this career, the clients, the colleagues, and even the houses themselves, because, oh yeah, that's what we sell. And isn't it interesting, in this entire topic, we've hardly even talked about houses, because it's so easy to get wrapped up into being a real estate agent. And with that, there are going to be things to deal with, such as this: rejection, constant, unexpected conflict, unfavorable results, and really sadly, deceit and dishonesty. And the reason we're putting this here is because we just kind of want to lay it all out. You know, this industry is tough, but if you know what's coming and you're aware of it, you can better prepare. And luckily, there's a lot more good than bad in this industry, but don't be naive about the potential speed bumps that are going to occur in your career. But mostly just don't give up when those things happen. Very unfortunately, our profession has the highest turnover rate, and it really shouldn't. I believe there's sort of a debate out there if it's financial planners or real estate agents who have a higher turnover rate, but it doesn't have to be that way. If we just work together and we collaborate and we start answering questions for each other and provide solutions to problems that we have, you know, we'll all feel better and we'll have more clarity and peace of mind working in the industry. When you're having a tough day, remember why you got into the profession in the first place. It's actually very helpful. And learn as fast as you can how to put on the raincoat. Things are going to happen. You're going to get that rejection. Someone's going to not tell you the truth. An agent's going to sell a house out from under you. The list goes on. Things just happen. The faster that you can learn to put on the raincoat and let it roll off, the faster you'll become successful in this industry. And remember this: real estate is one of the only professions that exists today that allows you to make as much money as you want. And it really is true that the harder you work in this industry, the more successful you'll be. So if you're ever feeling down and it's a little tough, just remember that specifically, because it really is, it's incredible how successful you can be in real estate. Just don't let it all go to your head. Some other helpful products. In our other courses, we offer some courses that we feel would work well in conjunction. But, Real was really started because real estate has tended to be an industry where people don't really share what's working and what's not working. So the courses that we created were really over topics that aren't talked about very much. So because of that, it seems kind of ridiculous that we're saying this, but we do. We kind of offer all of our products for new agents. It's information that you'll quickly find is not easily shared in the industry. So we hope that all of our products are helpful for starting out. And in conclusion, we just want to wish you the best of luck being a real estate agent. One day we'll all be alive when a book is written about the ins and outs of just being a real estate agent. No one's done it yet. So it is a fun profession, and congratulations on becoming a new agent. We'd love to hear your feedback, and we'd also like to know how our products are helping you grow your business and succeed. So feel free to share your success stories with us at success@bearealagent.com. Thanks so much, and good luck.